still people coming.
How do you?
Okay, but I suggest that we start. It's 3 minutes past 12, and I can say indeed good afternoon. Only 3 minutes afternoon, but anyway, good afternoon to our next Digital Academy talk in the framework of our SMALEI project. So we are very happy that these lunch talks, which turned out to be really nice event formats, that they go on in 2025. And I wish you all a good and happy new year, by the way. And we are really happy that we are already having the 5th SMALEI Digital Academy talk. And this talk today will be hosted by us. This meeting will be from Baden-Württemberg in Germany. My name is Andrea Bernhard-Bürkle, and I will moderate today's session. And I have with me my colleague Sina Förster, who will moderate the chat. So you are most welcome to send questions to the chat, to send comments, and hopefully we will have the time to discuss a little bit later on. We are representing the Volkshochschulverband Baden-Württemberg, the Association of Adult Education Centers in the region of Baden-Württemberg. So we have 160 schools in our organization called Volkshochschulen VHS. So whenever I talk about VHS today, I'm talking about our schools. We will talk about partnerships and sustainability today, and partnerships among education institutions, but also beyond. And we will try to answer the question why partnerships are so important, why cooperations are important in order to achieve a sustainable society, and why, in particular, adult education is an important pillar of sustainability strategies. We have with us, and we are happy to welcome 3 speakers today, all of them from Baden-Württemberg. And indeed, I have to check, my PowerPoint is unfortunately frozen. So I will stop very quickly the PowerPoint and restart it. Just a moment. And while I'm talking, some more colleagues are coming in. Okay, so you can see now the 3 speakers we have with us today. We first of all welcome Katrin Nuiro from one of our VHS schools from a rural area, Volkshochschule Wiesenthal. Secondly, we welcome Dr. Bettina Dengler, who is from one of our ministries here in the region of Baden-Württemberg, and who will talk about networking activities on the state level. And thirdly, we are very happy to have with us Andrea Michel, who is from a music school, so also a most interesting field where sustainability could be implemented. 3 speakers today, and we will in fact talk with Katrin Nuiro. A warm welcome to you. We start with you actually at the grassroots level. So you are from one of our schools, from the VHS Adult Education Centers in a rural area, from a very small place. And in fact, talking about grassroots in your case is a very good term, because the place where your school is based is called Wiesenthal in German. And if we would translate that to English, it would be the Grass Valley, maybe. So grassroots, Grass Valley, perfect match, we have to say. Before we start talking about partnerships, maybe Katrin Nuiro, you can tell us a little bit about your school so that the participants get to know our adult education centers, VHS schools in Germany. So tell us a little bit about your work in general, and maybe also about the place Wiesenthal where you are based.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invitation to your talk today. Our adult education center is a little one, and we are mostly placed in a rural region. We have our headquarter here in Schopfheim. It's a small town with 20,000 people living here. And since last year, we are a bigger institution now because we have some other institutions along the valley of the Wiese in Zell, Todtnau, Schönau, Hausen, and Maulburg. Small towns from about 1,000 people up to 12,000. So we are really placed in the landscape, and we are trying to propose a program that is interesting for the people here. It's certainly not the same interest as you may have in big cities, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We are nevertheless, we are not a small Volkshochschule because in Baden-Württemberg we have a kind of statistics. When your Volkshochschule is having a program with a lot of hours in the year, then you are considered a middle Volkshochschule. So we are proposing about 10,000 hours per year with different courses, and we also propose a lot of German courses for immigrants here in the region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and you are also quite active in the field of ecological issues, in the field of sustainability. And on your website, you say you advertise that you are a partner of the Biosphere Reserve in the Black Forest. That's where you are based. And we are talking about partnerships today, so it would be most important to see what kind of, what a biosphere reserve, maybe a biosphere area, first of all, is, and then to get to know how your school became involved, started the partnership with the Biosphere Reserve.
Okay, I don't know if everyone knows what a biosphere reserve is. These reserves are certificated by the UNESCO, and you can find them all over the world. Contrary to nature parks, for example, biosphere reserves have in the center of interest the combination of protection of nature and the interest of the people that are living there. So culture and nature, not only protection for the nature reserve, but also protection of the people that are living there. And our biosphere reserve, called Biosphere Reserve Black Forest, is the youngest one in Germany. It was founded in 2016, and the main concern of the biosphere is to get partners to act in different spheres. One of the spheres is, of course, tourism and agriculture, and of course also nature protection. But the fourth one is education. So it's an important column of the biosphere. And in 2019, I think the people of the Biosphere Reserve contacted us and asked us if we would be interested to be a partner of this reserve. And I said quickly, yes, it would be interesting for us, because even before we had a part of our program was education about sustainability, about climate change, and so on. And we also propose a lot of courses that are taking place in the landscape. So then we went to a meeting with several other supposed partners, mainly kindergartens, but also other educational centers for adults. And after that, we had to write some kind of inscription form. We had to prove that our institution is also taking care of climate goals in our daily work. And we had to show them what our program is, what our other partners are doing. And so it was a kind of a certification process. And in 2020, we became educational partner of the Biosphere Reserve. For us, it's on one hand, it's a marketing tool, because we can say we are educational partner of the Biosphere. We can take part in some unions, in some manifestations that they are proposing, but we can also use the people that are working for them as educational resources. For example, we can propose excursions with biosphere guides. We can ask someone who is making an evening about a certain theme, and we can also educate our own staff concerning the goals of the Biosphere Reserve. So up to now, this process was very interesting for us, and we are now recertificated. So every 3 years you have to be recertificated as a partner, and I think it's really an important process, because in the Biosphere it's open to everyone. There are unions taking place where every citizen who is interested can come and can propose ideas.
Mm-hmm. So you have now already reported on a lot of events and activities that you carry out together with the Biosphere staff, with the Biosphere itself. Are there other partners of the Biosphere Reserve, and do you also cooperate with them from time to time? Do you have activities together with other partners or meetings?
Mm-hmm. There are, as I told you before, there are several different columns, they are called agriculture, tourism, education, and culture. And we have some agricultural people who are proposing tours to their in the landscape. We have it's mostly so that we have an idea or they have an idea, and then we collaborate. We are developing something special. For example, one year we were planning a sustainable Saturday. That was an event here in our Volkshochschule, and the whole day you could inform you about sustainability. Some associations were doing work. For example, I don't know if you know about a way of agriculture where everyone can work on the field and have the fruits. So it's solidarity, kind of agriculture solidarity. Then we had clothes exchange. Everyone could bring the old clothes and just exchange with other people. And we had someone who showed photos of people who are active in sustainability here in the region. That was one project. Then we also proposed for our own teachers a tour in the Biosphere with a guide from rangers. They have rangers in the Biosphere, and after that we just sat together and made and ate together something. Then there are every half year there are meetings from the Biosphere. They are also proposing online education, for example, marketing, or thinking about how we can promote together our courses, our offer to people here in the region. There is agenda where you can bring your own things in, and they have an internet site where you can find it. So, but it's still developing. It's not a finished work, because this Biosphere is very young. There are still things that have to be developed. For example, you can have also fundings for some projects, but these fundings at the moment are rather for agricultural ideas or for the protection of nature. And we as an educational institution, we would like to have also the possibility to have some fundings for educational projects.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very interesting. So thank you, Katrin Nuiro, for the time being, for your reports from the grassroots level. We might come back to you later on. And of course, the participants, as I said, can ask questions in the chat. But we would now like to move to our next speaker, who is, and we would really go from to the contrary level, let's say, from the grassroots in the Black Forest to the, let's say, top level in Baden-Württemberg in Germany. And maybe we have to explain, first of all, a little bit that Baden-Württemberg, the state of Baden-Württemberg, the region of Baden-Württemberg, it's one of the big German Bundesländer with 11 million inhabitants. With an own parliament, with ministries, as you see, because Mrs. Dengler is from the Ministry of Environment. And we have, by the way, an own prime minister who is from the Green Party, by the way. And this might be the reason why sustainability and in particular education for sustainable development is an important issue here in our area. And we are happy to have Mrs. Dengler on board today because you are, among other things, responsible on collaboration and networking of important stakeholders, in particular stakeholders from the educational sector, in order to develop innovative and long-term strategies on education for sustainability here in the region. Today we talk about the role of such partnerships and how they help to achieve the sustainability goals of Baden-Württemberg, for example. And yeah, the first question to you would be if you can give us a brief overview of your work at the Ministry of Environment and how partnerships and networks are integrated into this work on education for sustainability.
Thank you very much, and hello to everybody. As you said, I'm responsible for education for sustainable development in the field of non-formal education. So maybe first I give you a picture of how it all started, and because it's really contrary to the level we heard before. Mm-hmm. In 2022, the Minister of Education and the Minister for the Environment agreed together that they want to strengthen the education for sustainable development. And so what governments do when they want to apply a new field of politics is they first develop a strategy. So this we wanted to have a strategy for the whole Baden-Württemberg, and not only by the two ministries who took the lead. So the first step for us was on the working level of the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of for Environment to set a frame. Just we agreed fast and easily about the target group. We said our strategy will address multipliers, because for us it's impossible in a big region to go for each single teacher and to offer own educational possibilities for the people on the ground. The second thing was we agreed on goals, as we want to strengthen the structural implementation of ESD, so of the education for sustainable development. The second was we want to enhance the quality of the offerings, the quality development meant, because up to now there is no standardization for ESD. Everybody can say, I'm doing ESD, but it's like no qualification is required. And the last goal we had was to enhance the visibility of the education for sustainable development. So this was our first idea, which we had between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry for the Environment. But as we want to go for a strategy for whole Baden-Württemberg, we had to introduce it and to discuss it with the other ministries in order to have a whole government strategy afterwards. And here we encountered a lot of big challenges, because the government organizations are organized very much along disciplines, and they have their responsibilities, and they feel accountable for special issues and themes. And it's also politically a lot about visibility. This means if one minister has something to show, like a project or something which is working very well, they will not like to share this this moment of visibility with other ministries. So here we found it quite difficult to cooperate on this level, where everybody thought this should be quite easy because it's one government, but we also have a coalition between different partners in our government, which means we have the Conservative Party and the Green Party. So especially if it's not from the same party, the ministries are not always easily to convince about a special political strategy. So if we talk about education for sustainable development, you see it's completely in contrast to this disciplinary thinking. We need interdisciplinarity. It's about acknowledging the intertwinedness of sectors and systems. It's about acknowledging the rapidly changing world, which needs education to help come to a good way of transformation. So we needed an educational approach which focuses on system thinking, the understanding of complexity, the effects and impacts of decision making, be it for the future, but also on a global scale. And it was absolutely not about fixing isolated symptoms which can be located or thematically or in a special region. So this bringing forward the education for sustainable development needs in the end a lot of cooperation and participation and a holistic perspective, which is not how governments actually work. And so the process of coming together, of participating and harmonizing required a lot of time, effort, and communication. There were also fears from special sides that they will not have their stake enough visible in the end. So to come back to the question regarding the overview about what I do is we are elaborating and implementing concepts which follow to some degree to the goals which we set, together with the partners inside government from the different ministries, but also with the partners outside from the NGOs and different building institutions. And the main thing I do is to communicate, coordinate, and organize exchange. And as a ministry, we have resources. So this means we also develop programs, support systems, and way of funding, which very often is also a question of how can we legally transfer money to people who want to engage in sustainability or education for sustainable development. So these are things we deal mainly with.
And you said that one of your strategies and one important thing for you is that you work together with partners, and you already mentioned NGOs and education institutions. Could you maybe tell a little bit more in detail what kind of institutions and partners you rely on, what kind of partners you are working with, and maybe also give some examples on partnerships or on activities and events that you moderate, that you initiated.
Yeah. So right from the start, we established different participating bodies like roundtables, interministerial working groups, and working groups for the implementation of the measures. And one of the measures we decided we want to strengthen was events, networking events on a regional scale. And we do this once a year, where we invite the multipliers to develop together with us this format. This means in last November, we had third network meeting with, I think, 250 participants. And most of these people who were participating in this one-day-long meeting were also contributing by offering small workshops, for example. We had more than 30 small workshops which were organized and carried out by our cooperating partners, and some of them also by us, where we gave a possibility to exchange or to inform about what we plan. This means that what the community asked us was they wanted the possibility to exchange and to identify on a larger scale potential partners for their work. And one thing we found was that especially partners which were somehow unlikely had the biggest benefits. So if we had people with an ecological background, organizations or small associations, and they met, on the other hand, associations with a global learning background, they were the ones who learned most from each other, because normally they're mostly connected to people with the same thematic background. So this is one thing and also right from the start, I mean, I remember the first time we carried out this meeting, we had very clear and wonderful ideas how we wanted to carry out this meeting. And then we said, okay, we make a working group. We invited the associations, interest groups, and also churches. VHS was there too, and discussed with them what they thought would be a good format, what they were interested in having as a whole Baden-Württemberg event. So they came up with completely different things than we had foreseen. And we were able to just allow all of what they wanted to come to action. And we said, okay, you want an event which offers a lot of space for discussion, for learning from each other, and not much of somebody standing in the front and telling you something. Okay, we will do that. And this was a very big success story, because the first time we had to motivate each of the association to participate as an actor, not only as a visitor. And this time we had so many requests from people who wanted to share, who really wanted to contribute, that we couldn't take all of them. So now we are thinking, how can we do in the future, what we can do about that. Yeah. So what I think what is very important in the partnerships and cooperations with NGOs especially is that there is a purpose and there is a common benefit for them. So because sometimes it's like we invite people to give them because we need their expertise. So we offer a round table, and in the end it's just the ministry who has the benefit, because they tell us their great ideas. And I think this is morally not acceptable, because it's their resources, they offer their time and their expertise. So our interest is always also to look what they can benefit in the end. So this is, I don't know, was this the answer to your question?
Yes, that was the answer. And I have to say, it's an excellent example on how not only to moderate partnerships, but really to integrate the partners, to have a participative approach and just open your options. You have your events and formats to the people and make them act themselves. I think that's always important in general, but also in partnerships, it's very important that every partner is active. I think this became most obvious from what you just told us about. I have to, in fact, I would like to listen to more contributions from your side, but I would first invite Andreas Michel, our third speaker today, and we might come back to you later as well. And maybe there are then questions in the chat, but let's first of all move to Andreas. And as I already said before, he's a bit unusual maybe here in our discussion today, because we are talking in the SMALEI project, we are talking about adult education and sustainability. And Andreas is from a very specific field of adult education. He is from a music school that is part of our VHS Adult Education Center in a town called Pforzheim, also in Baden-Württemberg. But as I said, from a music school. And so my first question to you, Andreas, would be sustainability and music. How did these two fields come together? How do they fit together maybe also?
Thank you for this question. Hello to everybody, Mrs. Dr. Dengler, Andrea and Sina. Hello to all partners on the screen. We are here in Pforzheim. It's a city which had some better years long ago. It's called Goldstadt. Gold City, but nowadays it isn't a gold city, because we have many problems here in our social, in our with the people who are coming here. A big amount of immigration and many people who are not so who don't have so much money for education and for culture. So we, as a music school called Musikschule, we are not already only a cultural part of education. We see us as a general education part of the system. That means that our action is not only the transportation of musical know-how, it's rather the transport of social contents and learning for life. Also, making music means talking together about non-verbal level. So many values are conveyed, like consideration, to learn to listen, following your own line without being streamlined, learning to adapt without losing self-confidence, to stay open for other opinions, to see that every man has his own perspective. So that's why sustainability is for us a big term. It tells us to be, sustainability tells us to be a team player, not to be a soloist only, so not to be a team player. And this is indeed an absolute European term, sustainability. We are acting, the pupils learn that we are interacting all together with our surrounding and with our world. And we have to learn that our actions have consequences. We are always interacting together, and these points of sustainability and the 17 goals already, we want to transport to the young people. There are various areas there is the pedagogical area, there is the educational area, and there is a pure technical area where we can transport the values of sustainability. And so I think it's very important also here in this city, and it's important for the society in Pforzheim to learn what it means to make music together, to live together, to behave together in this city.
Mhm. And Andreas, you had you have started some extraordinary music projects that focus particularly on sustainability. For example, some performances and concerts for sustainability. We see one picture here which shows such a concert. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about the events, and also, because we are talking about partnerships today, if and how you invited partners to take part in these events, or how partners contributed to these events?
At first, to work with sustainability has given us many more partners, which we couldn't act further together. We have new partners on the level of sustainability, and may I say that the importance of sustainability gave us the further director of the Volkshochschule Pforzheim, Mr. Will, and he talked to us to take part in workshops and trainings about the EU Erasmus Plus programs, maybe K1 mobilities. And we had some trips to the European partners in Spain, in Italy, with our colleagues. And so we were very impressed from this theme during this training. And the impressions of these trainings gave us the idea to make a concert and to talk about these inputs we got in Palermo and we got in Granada, Almeria. In Almeria, we saw the big planting gardens full with plastic for the tomatoes. In Palermo, we saw the problem with wie heißt es, Müll? Garbage,
yeah.
for example. And we told these impressions together with our music, and so we made a new concept of concert. It was a talking concert. It was a concert we didn't made ever. It was a new concept for us, and so we could invite people who are interested and institutions, for example, the city management, BUND, and institutions who are taking care for nature, but also economical firmen.
Companies, yeah.
Yes, and so on. So we could get new partners, Engagement Global, for example, and this was a very big thing for us and very important to show it together with the press, to making posters, to making articles, and to say what we are doing. So we hope next time we will have more people who are interested in our concerts for climate change or for sustainability. We
So
also made a crowdfunding. Maybe you can look. Okay. A crowdfunding for music school for sustainability, and it was with a big success. We had 8,000 euros, and so we can invest in our technical equipment to be accus, power banks, and so on.
So I just switched the slide, and maybe we should mention that you are also part of our SMALEI project, because we had a workshop with you using our SMALEI matrix. So that's one of the outputs of the SMALEI project, and you worked with it, and you already now had a lot of ideas of concrete things, sustainable, small sustainable things, bigger things that you can implement in your school and also in your building and while doing your work. And maybe you can give one example. You already mentioned the power banks. So I have the power banks here in the picture. And maybe you can give some examples of activities that you came up with, because we are, among other things, during our SMALEI workshops and while working with the SMALEI matrix. So maybe just give some examples that you will implement.
Yes,
Or
thank
already
you
have
for
already implemented.
Yes, thank you for your interest. Side by me, beside me, there is Mr. Simak. He takes care for sustainability in our institution together with another guy, Patrick Pöpel. It's one thing we have changed, and there come many input, and we have the possibility to make our light and sound technique more based on solar and regenerative energies. For example, this power bank you can see and the solar modules. In Germany, we call it Balkonkraftwerk. We want to make solar energy and accumulate it. And then when we go outside with our band and making music, we don't need power we have, wie sagt man da, eigenständig. We are,
So independent, so
yeah, we are
energy
independent.
contribution, yeah.
Yes, so there are speakers with with power banks, and you can make from wie heißt es nochmal, Makita tools. They have accus, so you can put it there to make music. As it's very interesting. So we also want to install a solar bank to charge our PCs and the pupils' mobiles. And we have many ideas. We can switch off our WLAN system up to 10 p.m. to save energy. We can install timers for our light. And we have many ideas to the gastronomy during our concerts and events can be more sustainable without plastic, with regional products, for example. And we have a competition called Jugend musiziert. And this year we are making the first rating of vocal pop under sustainability. So we take these power banks loaded with solar energy, and our sound technique is driven with this energy. I want to say the band Coldplay is a very innovative band. They have a floor which, when you walk, the floor produces energy, and they take it for themselves for their concerts. This is one idea. This is a future for us, but we can sensitize. We can sensibilisieren. We can
sensitize, yeah.
Yes, we can sensitize. We cannot change, but we can sensitize our pupils to make it in a sort of in a better way for when you make concerts, when you make music. And we can take musical themes or musical melodies who are like Schöpfung, Haydn's Schöpfung, or Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, or music from the New World. These are all themes we can interpretate and say that is very necessary to live together, nature, world, and man.
So that was already a very good conclusion, Andreas, from your side for the time being. We might come back to more questions, but I would like to ask Zina. Zina, I see that there are some things in the chat, but I don't know whether it's questions or comments, so maybe you can...
So there was one question from the audience for Katrin Noiro. And how often do activities take place in the biosphere? And are regular meetings important, or are sporadic gatherings enough?
Okay, there are regular meetings that are organized by the biosphere. As there are different domains, I cannot tell you how often, but for our educational domain, it's one partner reunion per year, and then the so-called column reunion, where everyone can come with the ideas. And every year there are also new partners that are presented. What we are doing here, it's in our concern. It depends on the institution itself. So I think the regularity is important to stay in the process and to connect with the other partners. But for our program, it may be also interesting to have spontaneous encounters. There's another Volkshochschule, also partner of the biosphere here, and they take the they are smaller than we are, and I see that they cannot take all the possibilities that are proposed by the biosphere because they simply don't have the time. As Volkshochschule, we are not only proposing education for sustainability, but we have very different fields of education. So it's only one part of our program, and there may be semesters where we make a special theme about sustainability, and we have a lot of proposals, and other semesters where it may be rather a small part of our program. It depends also really on the partner itself, what is working, and how our point of view for our institution is.
Yes, so thank you very much for that answer. And Zina, I got it right, so no more questions from the chat. So I can open the final round of questions now, and I would have one question per speaker. And would like to start again, or would like to start now with Mrs. Dengler, with Bettina Dengler. So you have extensive experience with networks and partnerships. And are there any tips you would give to other institutions that are organizing and moderating partnerships? So what is, from your perspective, a successful strategy? What are successful partnerships for sustainability?
I think some of it I mentioned already before. What I think is imperative is to have a clear purpose, to know why you cooperate, to know why people should go into a partnership, because it's not for the sake of having a network, it's to achieve something together. And also to be aware of the resources which are also necessary. And one of our experiences is that it's important to coordinate and to care for the network or for the partnership. If there is nobody or no resources available for this caring for the partnership, it will have no sustainable future, because it's very difficult that the partnership works without somebody who is having the whole process or the whole project in view. And the last thing, which is something we face very much, is the overcoming of disciplinary boundaries, and which has in our governmental institutions, everybody has his side. I mean, you talk about agriculture, you talk about environment, you talk about mobility, and everything is like organized in a very strict way. So we're working on it on a working level. It's very easy to overcome the boundaries, but on the level of the leaders, for us, it's still difficult to overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Then, as I said, one more question per participant, and the next question would go to you, Andreas. So you already reported on some partnerships you started, but when we discussed before this meeting, you also told us about a lot more ideas you have about more partnerships, maybe also other types of partnerships. I'm thinking about the lavender activity you are planning. So what future partnerships do you have in mind? Do you already have ideas for more partnership activities?
Yes, I think it's a big deal to find friends, people who think like you. And for example, if you have an action, you have some more partners. For example, we want to plant on the outdoor side of the music school for the bees, for example. And so I asked the garden center of Pforzheim if they want to help us. And press is coming, and from the city, the administration for nature and Umwelt for comes together, and we make a common action with pupils who are planting with a gardener, and so we make the music school better and finer, and we do something for the nature. And that's why we can get more partners. For example, this garden center here in Pforzheim. We also have some little foundations who make some services for little school girls and school boys in working technical. And so I have a relationship to them, and they come to our open day, and they are presenting their technological things like little solar panels, and for little cars who are driving by solar. And we invite them so we can interact together. And the teacher from then, he wants some inputs to get a better system to recover solar energy in power banks. So it's a giving and getting for us. And I think that we can find furthermore partners on our way, because it's an ongoing process. And you never know which partners we will get in the end of the year. So we are open for all working together.
Mm-hmm. So yes, thank you very much. Then the final word to our school in Wiesenthal in the Black Forest. So yeah, maybe Katrin Noiro, if you would sum up for you as an adult education center, as a Volkshochschule, why is it in general and in the field of sustainability in particular, why is it important for you to work with partners? What benefits do you see?
For me, the adult education or the movement of the Volkshochschule has always been something that is closely linked to the population, and it doesn't work without partnerships, because we need to be linked to other institutions, to other civil movements to really get to know the needs of the population. We are called Volkshochschule, and the word Volk means people. So we need to be inside the head of the people. And for me, it makes no sense when there are several different institutions doing the same work in a parallel way. We have to work together, and sustainability is behind everything. I think we are talking about climate change and nature and so on, but there are other sustainability goals, also educational goals. And I think everything that we are doing as an educational center has to do with sustainability, because learning, educating people in a not so expensive way is a way of making them able to live in a sustainable way. And why should I do something that someone else is doing if I can work together with them? And here in rural region, it's even more important, because we don't only have one headquarter in one town, but we are working in the region. And it's important to have partners that knowing the population. So I think for me it's clear, being head of a Volkshochschule means networking. That's very important.
Yes. So thank you very much for this really good closing word. I think that motivated all of us to go on with partnerships. And that was the goal of today, that we learn a little bit from practice, how you cooperate in general and in the field of sustainability. So it's almost 1 o'clock. And I would now like to thank you all for attending and invite you to stay for 1 or 2 more minutes. But I have to say that it is a bit of a technical experiment now, because we want to show you, as the closing or as at the end of our session today, we want to show you a little film from Pforzheim, from Andreas Michel's school, on these event and performance, concert performance for sustainability. And we brought a little film from it. So if you have the time, just stay for 1 or 2 more minutes. I will close the presentation, and we will start we will try to start the film from the colleagues in Turkey who hosted our session technically today, by the way, so thank you very much for that. We will try to start the film, and hopefully we hear the sound as well. If it doesn't work, then don't worry. It will be in a learning module that we will produce on this theme of partnerships and sustainability. So then if we can't start the film now, you will definitely have the option to see it later. And as mentioned, there will also be a learning module in which you can learn more about strategies and partnerships for sustainability. Bye-bye to everybody. Stay here. I will stop my screen sharing, and maybe now Berg can start doing it. It looks a little bit different, but let's see whether this is the film we were looking for. Yes, go on.
Herzlich willkommen in der Musikschule Leimlingstraße 12 in Pforzheim. Wir stehen hier im 2. Stock vor dem Vortragssaal 218, in welchem das Konzert stattfinden wird. Sie müssen nur kommen und reintreten. Das ist unser Konzertsaal in der Musikschule, auf den wir sehr stolz sind. Hier wird das Konzert am Sonntag, 7. Juli, 11 Uhr stattfinden. Ein Konzert unserer Lehrkräfte über Nachhaltigkeit und klimabewusstes Handeln. Wir haben noch nie ein Konzert in dieser Art und Weise gemacht, weil
sorry, maybe Berg, can I tell you? I'm afraid it's the wrong film because there was supposed to be some music.
Sorry.
If you have the other film, maybe we can start that one with the music. But if it doesn't work, then as I said, you can see it later. But let's try to whether the other film works, whether that has the music in it. Ah, yeah, that's the right one.
Okay.
Herzlich willkommen in der Musikschule Leimlingstraße 12 in Pforzheim. Wir stehen hier im zweiten Stock vor dem Vortragssaal 218, in welchem das Konzert stattfinden wird. Sie müssen nur kommen und eintreten.
Still right? Go on.
Schönen guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Herzlich willkommen in der Musikschule. Was Mozart mit dieser Musik gesagt hat, das könnte ich niemals in Worte fassen. Darum geht es auch heute Morgen. Wir gehen es diesmal von
Yeah, I'm afraid maybe Berg, we can stop the film because there is supposed to be some music, but it seems that this music, it's maybe the film is just too big.
There's only 2 video in
Yeah,
this.
but I think it's because the film is so big, so we have to tell our listeners that they have to watch the film in our e-learning module, which will be soon sent to you. Because I saw the piano player playing, but we didn't hear the sound of the piano. So I suppose it's because the film is just too big for Zoom. Okay, then thank you very much, everybody. I hope you will come to our Digital Academy, and we will have more webinars coming, or at least one more webinar. So Alicia, I don't know whether you have the date and the time. Anyway, we will send an invitation to everybody.
Yeah, we already said it on the chat, so it will be on the 6th of February from 12 to 1, and we will be discussing tips for sustainability campaigns. It will be more campaigns and advocacy and so on with 2 experts.
Yes, very good. Hope to see you again then, and yeah, enjoy the film in the e-learning module. And see you soon. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Bye-bye.